Hello. Today now we are going to study about carbon and its compounds. So in this section I am going to teach you what is carbon and how its properties differ. Okay, how its physical properties will differ, how its chemical properties will differ. That we are going to learn here. So now let us begin our topic now. So elements, if I talk about any elements, so elements are classified as a metals, non-metals as well as metalloids. So the first thing is metals you have, and the next is metalloids. So the properties will differ from metals to non-metals. So and the one more category that we classified is metalloids. So metalloids properties lies in between those of metals as well as non-metals. Okay, so this is all about the elements. So now carbon belongs to which one? So carbon belongs to the purely non-metal. Okay, carbon is a non-metal. So the element carbon is a non-metal. This point you should keep in mind. So I will underline this: carbon is a non-metal now. So now after understanding this, carbon is a non-metal. Now I want to understand what is the position of carbon. Okay, so for understanding position of carbon, so I require what? So I need to write here electronic configuration again. So what should I know for writing electronic configuration? So position of carbon can be understood only by writing electronic configuration. So now we will write electronic configuration. So by writing electronic configuration, we can easily know, okay, what is the position of carbon. So you know that the atomic number of carbon is 6. So from this atomic number, I have to write electronic configuration. So therefore, writing this electronic configuration now, okay, so in the first shell, how many electrons are there? That I need to write down. Okay, so here in the first shell you have total how many electrons? So 2 electrons. In the second shell you have 2 electrons. In the p shell you have total of 4 electrons. Okay, so this we understood that in the second shell you have 4 electrons, so which is in the p shell. Okay, second p shell is which one? So you have 13th or 14th. Okay, 14th group, and you need to see second period. So that is the position of carbon. So valency is 4, so therefore we can also call it as tetravalent. Okay, if any element is a tetravalent, it means it can combine with how many elements? It can combine with the total 4 elements. So therefore it is called as now tetravalent. Tetravalence means it has the ability to combine with 4 elements and make 4 bonds, 4 different bonds. So here it is combining with 4 hydrogens to make 4 bonds now. So now that we are going to learn about is that, so properties of carbons. So what are the properties depending on this bond formation? So the properties that we can study of carbon is, the first property is tetravalency that I told you. So tetravalency means the valence electrons are 4. In the second shell or outermost shell, you have how much electrons? 4 electrons. That one only we are going to write now. So carbon has how many valence electrons? Carbon has 4 valence electrons. So if outermost or valence electrons are 4, so then it is called as what? Tetravalent. Okay, so then it is called tetravalent. Now we understood the tetravalency, so therefore carbon can form which one? So it can form a compound with hydrogen, 4 of the hydrogens. Now see, you can see one carbon can share how many electrons now, that we are going to see here. So carbon can share its 4 electrons with the hydrogen. Now that diagram we will draw here. Okay, so if you understand this, so carbon can bind with 4 of the hydrogens. So this we are totally going to study in this overall chapter now. For example, we will take the carbon now. So if you take the carbon and make the bond with the hydrogens, so what happens? So for example, this is our carbon and it has 4 bonds. So this bond is with the 4 of the hydrogen, as I said you. So this is the structure. Okay, so I wrote how many hydrogens here? 4 hydrogens. So what is happening? 4 electrons of carbon is shared with 1 electron of each hydrogen. So it will form a simplest hydrocarbon. So what is the name of the simplest hydrocarbon? See here, 4 bonds, 3 and 4. So total 4 bonds are there. So it means what? So this is what? Carbon is making total 4 bonds. Now, and the type of bond that formed is here covalent bond, that you need to understand. The structure name is methane. Okay, so now let us understand. Okay, the next property of carbon, that is, we have the property catenation. So this property, now what is catenation? So that is the question in our mind. So catenation means what? So how do you write the definition? So catenation means carbon has a special property. This, due to this property, what it will make? It will make a covalent bond with itself only. So this property is known as catenation. Okay, due to the property of catenation, it can form long chains. So self-linking ability of carbon to form which bond? To form bond with itself. Okay, to form bond with itself is called as what? Covalent bond. So we wrote the definition of covalent bond. So now, due to the covalent bond formation between the carbon and carbon, so it will make a long chain. Okay, so your structure will be very long. So what makes this structure very long? So this is due to the catenation. So here we join carbon to carbon, carbon to carbon. So like that only we can make 1000 molecules, up to 1000 molecules the bond can be formed. So this is due to the property of catenation. So we will write, okay, this is due to the property of catenation, it can form long chain of hydrocarbons. Okay, hope you did understood this concept of catenation. So next property that we will go to study, that is what? Covalent bond formation in carbons. Okay, so what is covalent bond? Now only I told you. So now let us study this. What is covalent bond in very 5 steps? Okay, so the property that we are going to discuss is covalent bond. So what is covalent bond? Now only while explaining about tetravalency, I told that carbon will share how many electrons? 4 electrons. Okay, so covalent bond means mutual sharing should have to take place. Mutual sharing of electrons. Okay, which electrons? Mutual sharing of electrons. So the type of sharing is mutual here. Mutual means both atoms will share the electrons. Not only the one atom will give electron completely. So both atoms will share the electrons completely here. So therefore it is called as a mutual sharing of electrons. Okay, due to the mutual sharing of electrons, if bond is formed, that bond is called covalent bond. So now, can you give the example? So best example is carbon has how many electrons? 4 electrons. That I represented with the cross mark here. So now each carbon will share 1 electron with the hydrogen. Okay, one simple hydrogen. So now for hydrogen electron, I used the different color here, dots. Okay, this is called as electron dot structures. Now each dot is of hydrogen electron. Okay, so now we will write hydrogen here. Okay, if you see clearly, okay, carbon has total how many electrons? Carbon has total 8 electrons now. Okay, if you see carbon by sharing the electrons, it has how many electrons? Total 8 electrons. Okay, so you can observe that total 8 electrons in this circle. Okay, so this is of carbon. So carbon will say that I have total 8 electrons. So its valency is satisfied, or octet electronic configuration is fulfilled by 8 electrons. Okay, so therefore we drawn 8 electrons, and each hydrogen is having 2 electrons. So that can be shown with a smaller circle. Okay, there is electron sharing between the hydrogen and the carbon. So these 2 electrons will form a single bond. So that I showed in this simple diagram. So how many bonds formed with 1 carbon? So 4 bonds are formed. Okay, in between 1 carbon and these 4 hydrogens. So this is all about the covalent bond formation you have. Okay, now we are interested to study one more important property. So we studied about which one? Okay, so we studied about covalent bond now. So let us now study about the electrophs. So carbon has one of the unique feature to form electrophs. Okay, so what is electrophs now? I told it has a unique feature to form electrophs. So what do you mean by electrophs now? So electrophs means, okay, so here electrophs means, okay, carbon will exist in different forms. The element is carbon only, but it will exist in different forms. So this property of carbon is called as electrophs. Same element but exist in different forms is called electrophs. So now we have the best example for electrophs. Which are the best examples for electrophs you have? So the best example for electrophs are diamond and graphite. Okay, So example we will write. So example is which one? Diamond and graphite. So what you observe the diamond? So if you observe the diamond will glow very effectively when light is exposed. Okay, when exposed to the light. So in a similar manner, graphite won't glow that much perfectly. So but the similarity is what? Element in them. Same type of element is present in both of them. So therefore it is what? So both has the same element but different in their physical appearance, okay, or different in their properties, okay, due to the allotrophic forms. So this we studied in this section, okay. If you have any doubts, so you can comment in our section box. So thanks for watching this and hope your day will be good.